game time, it feels a little surreal. I'm sure come tip-off tomorrow when I'm looking at those guys in that uniform, it'll feel even more that way. But right now, just kind of taking everything in stride.
In the back, please.
Coach Brown right here, Robert Littal, Black Sports Online. It's been a long time, obviously, since LeBron's first finals. As a coach, what changes have you seen in him as a player from his first finals up until right now?
Well, the biggest change is the other four guys around him out on the floor. I mean, those guys, they're the team that we had in 07 was a good team. We were grinded out, gutty team. LeBron was young. There was a tremendous load on him offensively, and he's got at least two other perennial all-stars with him on the floor at most times. And he had the same thing when he went to Miami. So when you have that, it makes you a better player. But on top of that, his intellect continues to grow. He was already one of the most intelligent guys I've ever been around back then, but that continues to grow. And then if there's one thing that you can see basketball-wise, is just his ability to shoot the ball. In 07, too, what San Antonio did was, didn't matter where the pick and roll was, and we ran a lot of pick and rolls because he generated a lot of offense for us. They went under. It was Bruce Bowen, even if he had to drop 10 feet, he's dropping 10 feet and he's going under, and he's daring LeBron to shoot it. He was a decent shooter back then. Now if you go under, especially at that three-point line, he's going to make you pay, and he can beat you by doing that.
Janie here in the front.
Hi, Mike. Janie McCauley from AP. Has Steve decided yet whether he might coach tomorrow? Could he be a game-time decision? And just how does he seem to you out there?
No, he does seem like he's getting better, but I'm going to keep coaching until he says he can or can't do it. But, he hasn't told me either way right now.
Next row back on the aisle.
Hi, Mike. John Telich, Fox 8. Good to see you.
Good to see you, bud.
Question for you is just in terms of the additions that the Cavaliers made this year. They have a long-range shooter in Kyle Korver, a veteran point guard in Deron Williams. How do those two pieces aid them in their ability to win games?
Well, the first thing, they're veteran guys that have played in big games. And so they're not going to be surprised nor afraid of the moment. And then when you have, arguably two of the best one-on-one players in the game of basketball, arguably ever, to play the game of basketball, and LeBron and Kyrie, to have guys that can knock down shots, make plays, or at least have to be guarded to create more space for those other guys to make plays for themselves or for others, makes them a very, very dangerous team.
Can I add to this as well? You had LeBron early in his career when he was starting to make his mark as a guy that could be a clutch player, a finisher. The prospect of being on the other side of the basketball court with he has the basketball in his hands when the game's on the line.
Well, I don't know if we can see if Cleveland will cut him and we can sign him as a free agent right now. That'll help out. He's tremendous. What he's always done, he's always made the right play. And back then he used to get hammered all the time because he'd drive and three guys would collapse on him and he'd make the right basketball play. And a lot of times we won big games for that. We beat Washington in the playoffs, I think, when he hit Damon Jones. And, we beat Toronto, I think he hit Damon another time. So, he's a very dangerous player because, most quote-unquote big-time players in that situation, they're going to shoot the ball. And so you can run two or three guys at him, knowing that you're going to make it a tough, tough shot for them to knock down. But a guy like him, especially with, the weapons that they have right now, and Kyrie, and this guy, and that guy, Kevin Love, and down the line, it makes it very hard because if you run too many guys at him, you're going to have a very good player with experience that's not afraid of the moment, stepping in and being able to get a great look that's wide open. And most likely is a layup for most of those guys in that situation. So it's a daunting task, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Joe on the right.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com, and Plain Dealer and Bay Village resident near your Westlake home. I know you've done a couple of interviews about this, just having been with the Cavs, and I think Dan's still paying you from what he owes. But just what does this mean to you, given your history with the organization, having been there twice, to now be facing them in the finals this way?
I mean, my son goes to school back there. I still have a house back there. I had fond memories back there, and I went back there a second time with a good buddy of mine, Chris Grant, and saw him put this plan into motion that is going on now. And but the reality of it is, I'm part of the Warriors. I'm just extremely happy to be in the finals, and wouldn't matter who we are facing, Cleveland, whoever. And so I don't, and a lot of people have said this to me, and maybe I'm made up differently, but I'm not looking at this as, Cleveland fired me twice. This is a time to get back at them, or is there any extra incentive? No, I just want to win. I don't care who it is. I just want to be a part of a winning program and be the last team, quote unquote, standing. And so no matter who it was in front of us, and just happens to be Cleveland, yes, I want to win just as bad as if it was anybody else.
Do you look at this then as luck or fate or small world, or just how do you qualify to yourself? I mean, you were just there 2 years ago, and now you were going to be Steve's assistant, and now you're the acting head coach in the finals against them.
Well, to be in the situation of being in the finals is, you'd call it luck, being blessed. I don't know, being in the right spot at the right time, the circle of life, like the Lion King. Everything comes back around, I guess. But I'm just happy and excited and fortunate to be here.
Last two questions on this side.
Greg Logan of Newsday, New York. I have a couple of questions, one and a follow-up. First of all, Steve gave an interview yesterday where he talked about he's trying to decide, is he well enough to return to the bench, but he's been in the locker room for the past couple games. Can you just describe the level of communication that has gone on between the two of you during this process? How does it work during a game or, between games?
No, we communicate all the time. I mean, we're on the phone even when we're not together. We're on the phone at least twice a day. Yes, when he's here during games, he's in the locker room with us before the game talking strategy. He's talking strategy when we meet at halftime as coaches, and then, he'll address the team at halftime, even at the end of games. And we just kind of play off each other. Sometimes I may address the team first, then he'll go. Sometimes he may address the team, then I'll go. Sometimes I won't even say anything, and he'll just talk. So I think we have a great rapport with one another. And, hey, at the end of the day, this is his team. He's the head coach, and I'm just doing my job.
And the follow-up is, he made a comment about how at midseason you came to him and you kind of told him that you'd had sort of an epiphany of seeing how they work and why they don't call as many plays. Can you just describe that moment from your perspective and how you grew to understand this team?
Well, this is a veteran team that Steve has given a lot of ownership to. And, he gives them a lot of freedom, and they know how to handle it. They do a terrific job handling it. And, it took me a little while to adjust to it, but once, you've been around it, you've been around the players, you know how intelligent they are, it's easy why this team is coached that way. And as time has gone on, I've just gotten more used to it and acclimated to it, and now it's to a point to where if I'm in trouble, we got great assistance, and then we also have great leadership out of our players on the floor.
Last quick question on the left side before Draymond comes up.
Hey, Mike, Jason Lloyd, The Athletic. It's 10 years ago you had LeBron in his first finals, and I'm just wondering now the difference, the difference you see in him back then in that first finals 10 years ago and the player he is now.
And I said a little earlier, the biggest thing is just his ability to shoot the basketball from range consistently. If you're not careful, he can beat you from the three-point line. We played San Antonio back in 2007. Bruce Bowen went under every single pick and roll. It didn't matter how low the screen was set. Bruce was going underneath, and they were basically daring LeBron to shoot it. And, at times he made it, at times he missed it. but it didn't allow him to get downhill and make plays for others, which is what he liked to do. And you do that to him now, he'll make you pay, and he can even beat you from that three-point line.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so as expected, Mike Brown not only answering questions about the Warriors, but even more so about his time with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Maybe nicer than we are. I was sitting here thinking if you fired me twice, you're darn right I'd be thinking about beating you. In the meantime, we talked about, as we were going to the press conference, we were discussing Kevin Durant and the tone that he set. And you were talking about a conversation you had with one of the legends here in this town, in Ronnie Lott, about Charles Haley, who got 5 rings.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott was talking about Charles Haley, and just in terms of how he always pushed everybody to the edge, how he always pushed the boundaries. And consequently, that laid the way for everyone else to kind of come to the edge. Because to win championships, you need all your teammates and all the players to play over the edge, right? And there's that one guy that goes over the edge that allows everybody else to come to the edge. That was Charles Haley, and that's Draymond Green now for the Golden State Warriors.
Now, hopefully not over the edge like last year, which cost them Game 5. That's a whole other story. We'll get a chance to lead into this part of the trilogy. Steph, 2-time MVP, hoping to be a 2-time champ.